What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 70 of Week in Review. My name is Sean, and on this week's show, we're talking about 1992's Aladdin, Rage 2, and we'll look forward to this week's new releases. But first, I want to invite you to the limited edition diner buffet. I don't really have a great name for it. It was like this whole idea that I had. I was like, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to pretend to be like a waiter. And then I had that idea, and then I didn't write it down, so I don't remember how I wanted to do it in my head, but then I also forgot to, prep for it at all, so it's kind of a little bit of a mismatch. The point is on today's menu, I have two limited edition items for you. We have limited edition Blueberry Franz donuts. I keep wanting to say bagels, but donuts is what they are. And we're going to pair that with a hopefully lovely Mike's Hard pineapple mandarin lemonade. The best part about this mandarin lemonade, pineapple mandarin lemonade, excuse me, is that when I was pulling it out of the bag after I bought it from Safeway, I went to put it in the fridge and my brother went, oh, you know what? I was going to buy some of that, but then I thought, that looks like something stupid Sean would buy. And I did. So we're going to try that out. We're going to start with our main course first, which is these blueberry muffins. We'll crack them open here. They had just a table of these at Safeway. They were like 2 for $6. I only bought one because I don't need 12 donuts. I don't need 12 donuts to sit downstairs while I go, I'm going to film part of it. Hopefully I like them. Please enjoy. I should play some elevator music in the background. I won't do it because that takes editing skill, but I bet everyone's favorite part of this show is when I open stuff, because I never bother to prep anything, because not only does it look dumb, but it sounds terrible, and then I always comment on how it sounds really bad and I should prep it, and then I never do prep it. Preparatory work has never been my how do you say it, strong suit. Ooh, these have a very nice blueberry smell. Now, I don't actually like real blueberries, but blueberry Pop-Tarts are pretty good. So there's your kind of starting point for how I feel about blueberries. They do look nice. They look a little darker than the normal donuts do, which is kind of cool. It looks like it has a little bit of that blue coming through. It actually looks like there are just little blueberries in there as the flap falls down, whatever. Which won't be good for me, because that means I will actually have to eat real blueberries. I don't like the idea of that. So here, we'll take this one on the end. And in a shocking turn of events, my lack of prep has... I've forgotten to put a napkin down. So we're going to have to just use the top of the box as a plate. I spare no expense here for this budget of $17 that I put into this episode of the show. Oh, there you go. There's a nice little blue inside. That doesn't really show as well as it... I mean, it looks like more of a purple. But it has a nice blueberry scent to it. Everyone's second favorite part is when I eat and I have to figure out the next series of words that needs to come out of my mouth. But because for the most part, the shows are at least not scripted all the way, but they're at least there's a thought process behind them. Whenever I do the limited edition stuff, it's always what do you think there? The blueberry flavor isn't super strong. The frosting seems to overpower it. It's there a little bit, but it's just not there enough. I want more of the blueberry. I want it to punch me in the mouth with the blueberry flavor. Because as far as artificial flavors are concerned, I actually do quite like blueberry. I like the blueberries or strawberry or a dark berry. That's not really a flavor, I don't think, but whatever. It smells really good, but the taste isn't quite there. Now let's see how it pairs with this Mike's Hard Lemonade. This is a 5.0% alcohol by volume. So by the time we get to whatever the second review is on this show, it might get a little sloppy, and that is not a good start, honestly. if I'm being honest. Thankfully, that twisted off nice and easily, because as I was sitting here, I was thinking, boy, it's going to look real dumb if I can't open a 5.0 alcohol percent by volume thing. God, it sounds like I'm drunk already, but I'm not. It's Monday, 7:17 p.m. This post on Tuesday, but I'm recording it on a Monday. Has a nice pineapple scent. That's what you do with beer, right? You smell it and you go, you're like a real good sniff in there. That's too much. That was too much. That was too much. Number like pineapple. Big fan of pineapple. I like mandarin. I sounded less confident in that. I know my own self, and I'm like, I like mandarin. I think, not super sure. Pineapple though, big fan of pineapple, and I like citrusy fruits as well. Again, not real fruit, but like artificially flavored stuff. Primo. Just don't. If you give me a real mandarin, I'm not gonna know what to do with it. You know, it's like Charlie when he eats the pear, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's just like, where do I start? Do I start at the top, the bottom? I don't understand. I'll probably eat all the stickers. I eat stickers all the time, dude. Is that a bizarre enough reference for you? You can really taste that mandarin, I think. I don't know what mandarin. It doesn't taste like straight up pineapple. I know. The boy who was fooled by the taste of mandarin. That's really good. I like that. Tastes very nice. You can taste the pineapple and the mandarin. It's a nice mix of flavors. Yeah, it's a good thing. It actually works pretty well with this blueberry donut, because I'm sure that's the first thing Mike's thought of was, hey, somebody's going to pair this with a Franz donut. There's some guy on the internet. These are both pretty good limited edition items, and while you're enjoying your meal at home, I'm going to talk about Rage 2 and Aladdin. We'll start with Rage 2, which is this week's game entry. Rage 2 is a first-person open-world shooter developed on one hand by id, who is the godfather of the first-person shooter. They created Doom and Wolfenstein, and the other side has Avalanche, who did Mad Max and Just Cause, the Just Cause series, which are wide-open world games from a third-person perspective. And the game just feels weird. It's something I talked a lot about when I was streaming it. I streamed the whole campaign, all 8 missions of it, and that's a weird number considering that the box that it comes in advertises, if I can find it without looking, it advertises like a wide open world and big fucking guns and massive action and all this sort of stuff. But you spend a surprising amount of time in a corridor shooter that I was not expecting. I actually quite liked the corridor shooting aspects of the game. I think that because it is so good at first-person shooters, the game just feels good. Even if some of the aiming mechanics feel a little off and it took a little bit to get used to. I had just been playing Halo, which feels very responsive. And when I switched over to this game, for whatever reason, when you pull left or right on the, I did that backwards. Whenever you go left or right on the right stick, it feels like there's like a half-second delay. Like there's a weird, like, delay. I can't do it because I'm like thinking about it too much of like what way I'm gonna look. The setup of this game is fairly simple. You play as a ranger. I think that's what they call them. Shit, I'm already forgetting because the story isn't terribly important in the game. It's very basically structured. You play as a soldier. Shocker. An evil person has dropped down from the first game, which I never played. They're trying to take over and jumpstart some master plan they have. You have to stop them. It's a fairly basic setup. It works for what it's trying to do. It doesn't need to be any sort of like big grand emotional sort of thing. It just needs to be there to push you or to pull you, I guess, through the main plot line. And the main plot line is very short. There are only 8 missions, which sounds weird because it's an open world game. I would have expected a little bit more. And this is where the game starts to get a little bit odd. Simultaneously, there is a ton of shit going on, but there's also like not a whole lot to do. And it's this just weird juxtaposition of closed off gameplay and open world sandbox that the game just doesn't know what it wants to be. There are so many upgrades and there are so many things to do on the map, and I think the game banks on you being the type of person who wants to clear the map or who was easily distracted, which would fall more into my category, the easily distracted part. And there were a couple of times where I was driving around and I was like, well, I'll go check this out and I'll go do this and I'll go do that. But I never really felt the need to go do any of that stuff. You can do most of the single player stuff, or probably actually all of the single player stuff, or mission wise, you can go do all of that stuff without touching much of the open world activity, save for a part where you have to actually get to level 5 with all 3 factions, which is the most annoying fucking thing in the world. I hate it. I hate when they do that. And I thought for sure they were going to do it a second time. Later in the game, you're going to get all this stuff done and you're going to get to the where you're like, okay, we have the final mission and now you have to get to level 10 with everybody. And thank God they didn't do that, because I would have quit the game. I would have stopped. I would have been like one mission short and I'm like, no, I'm good. This is a really dumb mechanic and it doesn't work and it's just not fun. The open world locations are pretty repetitive. You clear out bandits, or you wreck their fuel stations, or you take out sentry turrets, which are probably the worst pieces of the game. And each of the 3 factions has a certain thing that they like. One of them likes when you find stuff for them. Another likes when you take down specific parts that weaken the enemies, like fuel lines and stuff like that. And the third person likes when you just kill the enemies and reduce their numbers. So there are certain events that raise your level in each of them. It didn't take very long to do. The one I had trouble with was the girl, and it's just because hers are a little bit more few and far between. One of the more fun events that actually works for her is the convoys, which are vehicular-based little things that pop up on the map, and you chase them down, and you blow up their support cars, and then you blow up this big, like Mad Maxian, huge behemoth vehicle, and they're challenging and fun, and they were the event that I had the most fun with, even if the controls for the car leave a lot to be desired sometimes. I wish it had the Halo controls, because it has the right and left, like gas and brake and reverse control scheme that most every car game does, and the left bumper is your gun and the right bumper switches your weapons on the car. It can be a little bit difficult to like claw your controller in a way where you're like moving both the sticks and you're trying to go forward, but you're holding the wrong thing because you're trying to hit the gun, and like it just, you end up with like weird crab hands and it feels super weird. But I like the convoys. They're like just big fun explosions, and I don't know, it's fun to just blow stuff up with cars. Also in the open world are big giant arcs which give you additional abilities or guns. And this is something that I wish was actually changed in the game, because I played most of the game just kind of doing the story missions. And the story missions don't take you by these after like the second mission that you do. During the first mission or two, you get your first ability, which is dash, and it's the that's like the story aspect, to be like, hey, go find these arcs. They're in the open world and you can get upgrades and guns and blah 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 blah. And the second one you get that's in a main mission is your shotgun, and that just gives you a second weapon to use. Scattered across the world are different arcs, and if you talk to people in like trader towns, you can get more information to where they are. You can also hold the left bumper and you'll do this little thing with your hand, and you can see smokestacks from where other additional upgrades might be. I think the game should have incorporated these differently. They're randomly across the map, which is fine if you did like half and half, but because you only get 2 that you run across in game, I ended up not really using many of the abilities for most of the first 2/3 or so of the game. In the first hour of the third stream I did, I went and picked up a couple of them, and they're actually very helpful, and that's why I wish they were different. Getting the double jump / glide and the slam mechanic, which was heavily featured in the E3 demo, is super helpful in the game. Going and finding the arcs is super helpful. I wish they were in route. I wish they picked like, here's 4 or 5 abilities or guns that we really want you to use. We want you to be able to expand your inventory, even in just the first half of the game. If you get through the first 4 missions of the game, and each one of those missions has an arc that has like, hey, we're going to give you the slam, we're going to give you 1 extra gun, and we're going to give you 2 other abilities, whatever those may be, that they think are helpful, that are must-haves for the rest of the game, I think that would just make the flow of the game a lot better. Overall, I had a good time with Rage. Initially when this game was shown at E3, I was like not all that interested, and it kind of did like a weird 180. Big credit to their marketing team for making like trailers and gameplay footage that like stuck out to me, and I was like, you know what, maybe I was wrong. I'll kind of keep an eye on this. And then it got to the point where I was actually very excited to play this game. I just think it's a weird game. It's the weirdest game I've played in 2019, and it's not from like a content perspective necessarily. It's not like a Saints Row sort of like over the top, like, wow, what the fuck's happening? Oh, this is crazy, weird, whoa type of game. It's just like mechanically weird. It's mechanically sound in both the open world aspect and in the corridor shooting areas. I think both of them play pretty well. I do wish the controls on the cars were changed a little bit differently because you just get that claw hand going on. The story is short. I spent probably, I think it was like 12 to 13 hours with it, and I completed the story. But I also feel like I really just scratched the surface. I don't think the game does a good enough job of pushing you to just run around the open world. It kind of just seems like it hopes that you like doing that sort of thing. And I thought some of the open world activities were a little bit more hit or miss than some others. I thought the convoys were fun. I liked clearing out like the like gas lines, gas stations they have that like fuel their cars, and the camps of them. I thought those were interesting, but the sentry turrets and a couple of like the recharge stations weren't that much fun. So it's like kind of 50-50 there. There's lots to see, but it doesn't feel like there's much of a reason to go see it. And Rage 2 is a very weird game that I enjoyed the time I spent with it. I'm going to hold on to it and check out the DLC, but I'd be surprised if I go back to it between now and then. Even from an achievement cleanup perspective, I don't think it'll really pull me back in. But it's a good game. Maybe wait for it to drop in price a little bit, or if you can get a hold of a rental copy to see if you like it, like Gamefly or Redbox or something like that. I think this is more of a try before you buy, or hey, it's on sale for $40. This is a good opportunity to jump in. This week's movie is Aladdin from 1992, and there's a very obvious reason for why I'm reviewing this movie now, or at least talking about this movie. This is one of the oldest movies of my particular life. I saw it when I was 2 or 3, and I'm sure when I was 2 or 3 I would give it 2 big old thumbs up. Sorry, Roger Ebert, please don't copyright strike. 2 opposables up. And being now that I'm 29, I rewatched it and I would give it 2 big old huge thumbs up. I love this movie, and I've always loved this movie. When I was younger, I always kind of moved back and forth between, do I like The Lion King or do I like Aladdin more? I always had those two in my head. And over the years, I think I've gone a little bit more towards Aladdin, just because I think it has a lighter tone in it, even though there are some darker pieces in this movie that kind of went over my head until I watched it recently. I haven't watched this movie in years, and it may not have been my best idea to start this movie at 9:30 on a Sunday night, but as soon as I put it in, I had a big smile on my face. I love Aladdin. I think it's really fun, and I love the characters, and I like the music of it. Obviously, Robin Williams' performance as the genie is the lasting impression of this movie, and that's the first thing everyone thinks of when you go Aladdin. You go, oh yeah, Robin Williams. The strange thing about this particular movie is I always forget that there are like 2 minutes of like opening song that does like the Arabian Nights thing. For some reason, I always think that it starts immediately with the guy trying to sell you the lamp. It's Robin Williams, who actually looks exactly like the genie. Like, he has the same beard, and then his clothes are the same. It's like a blue thing that he's wearing with a red thing around his waist. And I was like, oh man, I haven't noticed that. I've seen this movie how many times in 27 years, and I've never like put those two pieces together until I was watching it like very tired at 9:30. Just for whatever reason, I always forget there's like an intro portion of that, and then it cuts into that, and then it moves on with its story. I think this movie does a great job introing all the characters. We get to see how selfish and terrible Jafar is. We get to meet Aladdin. We see that he is a street rat, but he has a good heart. He gives the bread to the kids. He has a little bit of a rapport with some of the local people around. He has a conversation very early on with a couple of ladies who were like, oh, are you already causing trouble, Aladdin? He's like, well, hey, it's not trouble if you get caught. And then he turns around into the guard, and the guards know him, and there's like, it just feels like they do a good job with giving you like a time frame of, hey, he's been around for a while. He's well known in this area, maybe not for the best of reasons. He's good at what he does, which is being a thief. He has his buddy Abu. Shout out to animal companions in this movie, because you have Abu with Aladdin, you have Raja with Jasmine, and you have Iago with Jafar, and then you could even put the genie and the magic carpet as like a duo as well. I've always loved the Street Rat song. I think it's actually my favorite of the, I think there like are 6 of them, 5 or 6 songs in this movie. In the Street Rat one, I don't know if that's the actual title of the song. I should have researched it a little bit. Then we get to meet Jasmine, who's very hard-headed and stubborn and wants to marry for love. I really like Jasmine. She is the #1 Disney princess, both on the charts and in my heart. She's really wonderful. This movie doesn't have a lot to it. It's very bare bones in a lot of ways. The movie does a great job of making the characters that can't talk actually have a lot of expression. With Raja, Abu talks like a little bit, and specifically the Magic Carpet, who, with a combination of like very emotive animation and well-placed orchestral score, that's what I'm trying to say. Orchestral score, like, really brings that like character to life and makes you like feel bad when Aladdin like yells at him and he like walks away all slumped, and you're like, no, I don't want to do it. The Magic Carpet, come back, Magic Carpet, come back. This is so sweet. And we get to meet the genie, who, like, that performance is still great. I think if you showed this movie to kids, I still think that they would enjoy that aspect of the movie. Like, that's just how good it is. I know that, like, it's hard for me to look at this movie without the rose-tinted glasses, and I'm like trying to think, and I'm like, okay, just try to think about it, and it's like, no, fuck it. Like, I love this movie. I love it a lot. Like, I didn't realize how simplistic the story was, and I don't think it really matters. I think because it is so brightly colored and well animated and funny and interesting, and all the characters are fun, I don't think you really notice that it's like Jafar's motivation is kind of like, he's just there. He just wants the lamp because he's selfish, and it takes a while for it to become clear that he just wants power. And it's like just a weird. There was a point in the movie where I sat there and I was like, I've never really thought this hard about it. Why the fuck does he want the lamp if he has a stupid little snake thing? The movie is wonderfully short. It is 1 hour and 26 minutes. That's a weird way to phrase it. The movie runs at a brisk pace. It runs about 1 hour and 26 minutes or so without credits. And that's where I kind of was wondering, like, I looked at the runtime for this year's Aladdin, and it says like 2 hours and 8 minutes. And even if you give them 8 minutes of credits, which is a lot of credits and just makes the math easier in my head because I've had roughly half a drink of this, what are they going to do with the extra 35 minutes? Are they going to kind of maybe flesh out some of the characters a little bit more? Are they going to make some of the action sequences a little more vibrant or exciting? I'm super curious about that, and I don't know, like, do we get more backstory with Princess Jasmine and the Sultan as they try to figure out how to get her married? Because that's kind of that's an element of the movie, but we only see her reject one guy. It's just told to us that she's been a bit of a pill with it. Do we get more time with the genie? Do we get more backstory on Jafar? Because for as evil and vile and terrible as he is a very basic character, and it's like, why exactly does he want this? Is it just because he's supposed to be a bad guy? I don't really know. The original idea was to have this movie fresh in my head for when I go see Aladdin this week, and it really just turned into, man, I really love this movie, and I just want to talk about how much I love this movie because it's fun and bright and colorful, and I love it a lot, and I've always loved it. I've loved it for 27 years, and nothing's going to stop me. 2 big thumbs up for Aladdin. It's wonderful, and I still think it holds up really well today. Even if watching it on Blu-ray, the animation looks a little weird, and the sequences on the Magic Carpet, which I feel like have always looked kind of odd, like, show a little bit more that the Magic Carpet and some of the 3D animation didn't mesh super well with the traditional animation they were doing at the time. I think, if I remember correctly, and this could be wrong, so you can leave it in the comments below if I am wrong, I think this was the first Disney movie, like Disney animated movie, to work in digital in that way, computer animation in that way, because I think the head of the Cave of Wonders is computer animated, along with the Magic Carpet and the sequence where they're flying. Some of the stone or bricks or whatever on the side are computer animated as well, and it's like he slides around on the carpet in a really weird way, and then sometimes when the Magic Carpet is walking, I don't know, I'm like trying to figure out the words, but I can't. I really shouldn't have had half that drink. It's not going well. This was kind of the goal. I knew it was going to happen, but when he's walking, sometimes the pattern looks a little wonky. I don't know. At this point, I'm nitpicking. I love the movie. It's really great. There's Abu the elephant, which is now the greatest pop vinyl I own. And oh man, I love Aladdin. Like, it's super great when you're like, you know what's a terrible idea? Putting on a movie at 9:30 at night on a Sunday, and then you start the movie and you go, no, this was the right idea. 2 big thumbs up. God, they're going to sue me for using that. I think it's a registered trademark. 2 big opposables up. I win. Finally on the show, we'll look forward to this week's new releases on Blu-ray. 2 pleasant surprises in The Upside and Isn't It Romantic are out on Blu-ray. Booksmart is out in theaters along with Aladdin. Both of those movies will be reviewed next week. And on the game side, Dollhouse and Observation are on the PlayStation 4. American Fugitive hits the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. As for the streams this week, there's going to be a stream on Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those 2 days. Not sure what the game is, but there won't be a stream on Thursday because I will be seeing both Aladdin and Booksmart. We're getting crazy again that night. On Friday, we're going to start A Plague Tale: Innocence, and that's going to run us through the weekend. Hopefully, Rage 2 carried us through the weekend. Hopefully, we have back-to-back good games. That was a little bit more story-focused, so that should be good. And then there'll probably be a bonus stream on Monday, depending on where we are with A Plague Tale. I'll either try to finish that on Monday or have it done by Monday and have a different bonus game that day. So we'll see what happens. The streams could get changed, like all that. Like, I put the little asterisk in the bottom of the corner. It's like subject to change without notice because I had a dumb idea at the last minute and spent $74 on it. So there you go. You've been fair. That alcohol's really getting me. You've been fairly warned. Warned fairly? Fair. Oh boy. Fair warning on the streams. Be sure to head over to twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex and follow there so you can watch live. If you miss the streams, you can always catch them right here. And then on Thursday, there is a questionable free comic book day purchases unboxing going up. So look forward to that. It's a long one, but it's good. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Week in Review. If you like the content, scroll on down and hit that subscribe button. If you like the content that much, you can scroll on down a little bit more. You can let me know what you thought of Rage 2. You can let me know what you thought of Aladdin from 1992. Are you excited for Booksmart? Are you excited for Aladdin from this year? Are there any games that you've been playing or you're looking forward to in the near future? And then because we're getting close, let me know your crazy E3 predictions and maybe we'll figure out how to work that into the show. Be sure to check out the streams Friday through Monday over on twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex, and be sure to check back right here every Tuesday for more Week in Review. We'll see you next week. I'm going to finish this beer. Nope. Can't do it.